principles of financial literacy and understanding how money works, okay? So give you a little bit of introduction about myself, something that you can visually see. I am a former recording artist with Capitol Records. I was signed to Capitol Records back in 1992. And we were, the group that I used to sing with, we were discovered by legendary R&B group, The Whispers. So some of you younger people who may be on this Zoom training right now, you may personally not know who some of these people are, but your parents know who they are. And maybe when all this is done, you can ask your parents questions about who some of these people are so that you can kind of do some research on them in your free time and kind of put a face to the name. So during that time that I was with Capitol Records, I did quite a bit of acting. I've done TV pilots, TV shows. I've done a Dr. Pepper commercial. I was exposed to a lot of behind the scenes and in front of the camera work quite a bit. And I got a lot of experience doing that. So that's just something that's part of my journey. The entertainers that I've worked with in my lifetime were comedian Robert Townsend. Some of you guys probably might remember him by the movie The Five Heartbeats, or maybe even his movie Meteor Man back in the early 90s. Another person I've worked with before is Brian McKnight. Brian McKnight is a very well-known recording artist, R&B recording artist. I've worked with Jennifer Lewis. If any of you guys watch the show Blackish, she's one of the main characters on that show. I've worked with Naughty by Nature, The Whispers, like I said, Marcus Houston. I've worked with the Hudlin Brothers. The Hudlin Brothers are two brothers in the entertainment industry who actually directed the blockbuster movie Boomerang back in the day. So I'm pretty sure your parents are familiar with that also. And then I also had an opportunity to do some vocal coaching with one of Hollywood's top vocal coaches in the entire industry. And that was done by a gentleman by the name of Seth Riggs. I wrote and self-published my very first book back in May of 2000. So we're coming up on our 21-year anniversary this May in 2020. So I'm in 2021. I'm excited about that. And I'm currently in the process of writing my 5th book. I am a mentor. I'm a life coach. I'm a speaker, songwriter, editor, and I am a child advocate. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is just to give you a little bit of background as to where all of this talent and where all of this energy to do what I'm doing likely came from. So I learned that when I was a child, my second cousin on my grandmother's side of the family, which is my mother's mother informed me when I was little that Tina Turner, which is, I mean, an icon in the entertainment industry. She's a very well-known performer and singer of many decades. She's actually a second cousin of mine on my grandmother's side of the family. Another family member is Bobby Joe Mason. Bobby Joe Mason was one of the original Harlem Globetrotters. I didn't even know about the Globetrotters until my grandmother told me all these stories, and I started to research these people for myself. And I felt like it was kind of cool that, you know, some of these famous singers and performers were actually part of my family. So the reason I share that with you guys is because as we go further through the training and we start talking about how to identify your talents and your gifts and things like that, I want you to talk to your parents when this is all over and find out if there's somebody famous in your family tree. And if it's somebody that you have access to, that would be a good person to talk to about how they got an opportunity to do the type of things that they do. And maybe you can find your passion in that. Maybe you'll find your passion in what we're going to talk about later on. But I just threw that in there so that you guys can have just a little bit of history behind where I've been, where I'm currently at, and where I'm going from here. So I'm going to read through this very quickly so that we can get to the meat of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So the objective of this presentation is to teach you financial knowledge, concepts, and life skills that going to school is never going to teach you. The goal is to give you a basic understanding of what financial literacy is all about. A big part of understanding financial literacy includes understanding how money works. Once you finally grasp the idea of how money works, the next step will be teaching you how to make money work for you. And that's very important. So that's something to make a note about. Mastering this concept is where you will experience financial freedom. Another component of understanding financial literacy is understanding the ideology of supply versus demand and also marketing principles. The last and final objective of this presentation is to help you to identify your gifts and your talents so that you can turn your gifts and talents into dollars and cents. Turning your talents into dollars and cents can help you to create financial options for your future. So this next slide, thinking outside the box, you guys are going to hear me talk about this quite a bit throughout this presentation, because in order for you to position yourself to think outside the box, you almost have to unlearn what you already know, right? Whatever it is about business, about money, you think you already know right now prior to this presentation, you have to unlearn it in order to open your mind to receive new information that could help shape your decision moving forward as to how you're going to handle money, how you're going to be responsible with money, or how you're going to miss opportunities that could have brought you a lot of money. So I want you to keep your mind open as we go through this, because I don't want you to miss anything. This is a very important slide. One of my mentors told me many years ago that your brain is like a parachute, okay? It only works when it's open. So I just want everybody to keep an open mind as we go through some of the bullet points on this slide. So we're going to talk about linear income versus residual income, okay? And then we're going to talk about residual income versus passive residual income. We're going to talk about the myths about multi-level marketings, or most people commonly refer to them as pyramid schemes. That's one of my favorite bullet points, by the way, and you'll understand why in a few minutes. Employees versus business ownership, being an employee for someone else's company versus owning your own business and being in charge of it. Understanding how taxes work, that's something very important, especially for those of you who are in your last 1 or 2 years of high school, and you're about to leave high school within the next year or so and prepare either for a junior college or a university. Moving up the ladder versus owning the ladder. That's a good one. We're going to talk about when to pay yourself, okay? And the last thing that we're going to talk about, which is one of my favorites, is laws of attraction, okay? Simply put, the rat race is the ongoing process of doing the same exact things on a daily basis that can ultimately prove to be counterproductive, a counterproductive way of living later on in your life. For example, this is just an example that I came up with to help some of you guys understand what it's going to be like for you once you enter the workforce, okay? So in this scenario, you're 19 years old, and your very first job is working at the United States Postal Service or just the post office. You feel so excited that you're now working 40 hours per week and making $12 per hour. For your first 5 years of working, you take the same exact routes to and from work. You take your lunch break at the same exact time every single day. You eat lunch with the same people. You work just as hard enough so that you don't get fired, and you get paid just enough money so that you won't quit the job. By the time you realize it, you've spent most of your life confined to the only job and the only safe routine that you know. Even when new opportunities come around, you're afraid to take advantage of them because you have bills to pay and a family to support. This process is how the rat race traps so many people into being stuck at a job and feeling like it's too risky to do anything different than what they've always done. In this scenario, you would be earning linear income. And in this scenario, you would be earning approximately $23,040 per year. Now, imagine earning this amount monthly. I'm gonna let that marinate for a minute, because I originally said that if you look at this scenario and how much money you're gonna be making per hour, which is $12, that would mean your annual income would be approximately $23,040. And I want you to know that there's no trick to what I'm saying. There's no falsehood to anything that I'm telling you in this slide. I personally know people in my circle who have made this amount of money per month. For real, there really are people who earn this type of money per month and more. I didn't really want to put any numbers out there to scare you. I mean, because if you can't wrap your mind around somebody making $23,000 per month, anything above that I could share with you wouldn't even resonate with you. Your mind won't even let you compute it. But this is actually very doable. And we're going to talk about some steps as to how these people got to that place in a few more slides. So of the bullet points that we just talked about on the previous couple of screens, what I did for you guys, just for this segment, for the part 1 segment, I kind of focused on the top 3 bullet points that I felt were most impactful in my life. And hopefully, when I share this story with you, you can start either gathering some ideas of what questions you're going to ask me, or it may trigger you to start jotting down some ideas of things that you can do to position yourself and use your gifts and talents to make some residual income work for you. So I want to explain to you what linear income is. Linear income is when you're trading time for dollars. For example, if you got that job at the post office, they tell you when you first got hired, you're going to get paid every 2 weeks, okay? But in order for you to get paid every 2 weeks, you have to keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep punching a clock when they tell you to get there. You have to punch out when they tell you to go home. You have to eat lunch when they tell you to eat lunch, and you have to go on break when they tell you to go on break. After you do that for 2 weeks, you're going to get a paycheck, okay? And that paycheck, once you get it, is going to keep on coming in as long as you keep showing up to work doing what they ask of you to do. That's linear income, okay? And also another key point that I want you to remember about linear income, when you're working for a corporate organization, or you're working for even a small mom and pop business, for every dollar that you earn, the government is going to take taxes out of your check. So really what you're getting when you see that check, your net amount, what you're getting is what's left over after the government taxes you. So that's something to keep in mind. You mentally, you're not earning as much as you think you are, and you're going to be, that's going to be proven to you when you get your check stub and you start looking in the section that says your deductions, and you start seeing all the money that has been taken out of your check. And then they're going to give you what's left over. That's linear income. And the funny thing about linear income, guys, is that when you stop working, your money will stop coming in. When that was taught to me, let me explain. Let me let me use this bullet point to explain why it's so important that I sit down and talk to you guys about this. I was 20 years old when I first even heard the word residual income. I had no idea what it is. And the person who made me understand the power of earning residual income was a gentleman's name that I mentioned earlier, Brian McKnight. So when we were finally at a point to start recording our album back in the early 90s, Brian McKnight was the person who wrote the very first song for our record. So on the day we showed up to the studio to record that record, at some point in time when we had done all of our vocals and did everything that we need to do, the engineers sat with the record for about 2 or 3 hours because they were mixing it, getting it ready for production. In that time, Brian came up to us in the lounge area where we were sitting, watching TV and playing video games. And he asked us, do you guys write your own songs? And at the time, we didn't write our own songs. We were just basically singers and dancers. We did our own choreography. We had an amazing show. We had our costumes made for our shows. Like, that was our thing. Our thing wasn't really writing. Our thing was just singing and dancing. And he explained to us in very, very colorful detail that if we didn't start writing for our own record and get a few original songs on there, if our record was to come out and go platinum, meaning sell 1 million copies, everybody who wrote a song for our record was going to be making money that we as the actual performers should be making. And to be honest with you, I really didn't like the concept of that. So you mean to tell me we're doing all the work, but because somebody else wrote the song that we're on stage performing, they're earning money that we ought to be earning and we did the work? I didn't like that. But it upset me in my spirit so much that it made me want to go out on my own and research how I could continue to earn residual income, right? So that nobody else was earning money that should have been coming to me. So fast forward to about 1995, 1996, when I got out of the music business, that's when I started going into writing and publishing, because what Brian taught me that night is stuck with me forever. So I started my own publishing company back in May of 2000, and I started writing and publishing my own books because I knew that if I was to write a book and sell it, once that book was finished, it would give me an opportunity to position myself to earn residual income. And the thing about linear income, guys, in order for you to keep the income coming in, you have to keep on doing the work, right? So now let's go to the second bullet point and let's talk about residual income. Residual income works just the opposite.
Hey, Dameon?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but are you sharing your screen? Because I can't, none of us can see the PowerPoint.
I am sharing it.
Okay, because can everybody see it? Because I'm still having problems with my computer, but
okay.
I can't see the PowerPoint.
Okay, so let's see what we can do here so that I can. Okay, hang tight, guys. Okay, so my share screen is on. So let's try this again. So should I be sharing the screen where I'm actually at or where the PowerPoint is at? Is that why you can't see it?
Probably where you are. How did you should be able to hit the green share screen.
Okay, yeah, how is that?
There you go. There it is.
Mm-hmm. He was not.
Okay. Can everybody see it now?
Yes.
Awesome. If anybody's having trouble, stop me and let me know, and we'll adjust as needed. But you guys heard everything that I said up to this point, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the screen here. We're gonna continue. Okay. All right, guys, so here we go. So residual income I want you to think of residual income as having an employee, okay? Whatever your business is going to be later down the line, whatever business or company you're going to start as a home-based business, I want you to think of residual income as having an employee. Once you master the concept of that, then you will be able to be led into building multiple streams of residual income. And I'm going to move this little box over just a little bit so I can see you guys better. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to give you guys an example of residual income, okay? Can you guys see this book? You guys see that, right? Okay. This book that I wrote is one of my employees. Everybody get that? This book is my employee. This book works for me. I do not work for the book because the book has already been written. It's already been printed, right? And so I don't need to reinvent the book in order to sell it. The book is my employee. The book works for me. So every time this book sells a copy somewhere in the world, the residual income comes to me. Now, the reason why this is so powerful is because I live in California, right? But this book is sold all over the world. Can you imagine how much money it would cost me to get in my car or get on an airplane and fly to Canada to try to sell my book, or to fly to Las Vegas and try to sell my book, or to fly all the way down to Florida or Tennessee to sell my book? It would cost me a ridiculous amount of money. But because the book is available online, people around the world have access to purchase the book. So this is one of those residual income scenarios where I'm not working for my money. The money that I invested one time is now working for me. So this book is one of my employees because it works for me. Here's another employee that I have. It's another book that I wrote back in 2011. I hope you guys are taking notes about what I'm saying because I really want you to get this. I wrote this book, this particular book, No Longer Silent by way of poetry, right? I wrote this book in 2011. It is now 2021, and I still sell copies of this poetry book. So this means I have 2 employees working for me. I don't work for them. They work for me, okay? I'm going to introduce you to another employee. This is my most recent book. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's called Their Voice Matters: Child Custody Solutions for Effective Co-Parenting. This is my most recent employee. This book works for me. All of these books that are being sold all around the world, you can see those, give me an opportunity to earn residual income. That means I did the work one time, and based on that work that I did one time, I get paid over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Period. I didn't have to show up to Canada and stand outside in the freezing snow because of social distancing problems and wait for the store to let me sell my book. I didn't have to do any of that. I just tell people where to go purchase the book online, and then they go get it. So if you were the one who wrote these books, instead of getting up out of bed to go to your job every day when your alarm clock tells you to get up, you can actually wake up and get out of bed when you're done sleeping. Now, think about that for a minute. Which one of those scenarios do you guys like best? Do you like waking up at the crack of dawn every single day for years and years and years and years of your life, rushing to get to a job that you don't even like, that you don't even have a passion for, right? Just to make a little bit of money to get by and barely pay your bills? Or would you rather wake up when you're done sleeping? Because you guys are such a smart audience, I think you chose answer B. You'd rather wake up when you're done sleeping. And that is actually the correct answer. So real quick, we're going to move forward. As you guys get older and you enter the workforce, you're going to hear a lot of negative people say things about pyramid schemes. Pyramid schemes are kind of like a big phobia people have. You know, when somebody comes to you and tells you about a business venture they just saw, and you're super excited about rushing back home to telling your mom and dad what you just learned about this business opportunity, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, don't get involved with that. It's a pyramid scheme. And here's why I think that is so funny to me personally. When I hear people say it's a pyramid scheme, I really think it's super funny. And I'm going to share with you why I think that. When you enter the workforce, are you guys still able to see my slides? Everybody good? Okay, I see. Is that Nia? You can see? Okay, awesome. So when you guys are able to enter the workforce, you're going to come in at the ground level, okay? And you're just going to start at the bottom. You're going to have an entry level position, okay? You might start off in the mailroom. You might start off as a cashier somewhere. You might start off as a greeter at Walmart. Those are all entry-level positions that put you in this blue category. Now, I want you to understand the structure of this pyramid, because what you're looking at in this slide is corporate America, no matter what industry you get involved with. There's a structure there, okay? And where you fit in it is at the very bottom where it says employees. In order for you to get to middle management, you first have to stay on the job for a number of years so that the people above you that you report to can really kind of look at you, look at your work ethic, see if you're one of those people that always come late to work, or if you're one of those people that always show up to work on time. Do you meet your deadlines? Are you dependable? Can they trust you? If they feel like they can trust you after God knows how many years, then you get an opportunity to move up to middle management. Middle management means you're now a lead, or it means you are a supervisor. It could also mean that you are a manager or something of that nature. Basically, you've elevated yourself to a position of trust where, to be totally honest with you, you're going to get a little bit more responsibilities, and the pay that you're going to get, if you even get any pay at all, right? The pay that they're going to increase on your check is not going to, it's not going to equal the amount of work and responsibility that you're now going to be faced with on your job. So once you stay in that middle management position for several years, right? Until the powers that be in the organization feel like you deserve to be elevated to an executive, it may take you 10, 15 years of your life to reach the level of an executive position, okay? Maybe you're a CFO, or you're a program director, or you're a director of a medical insurance company, right? Or you have some kind of big management position. Really, where it says executives, guys, it's just a fancy title. Do you earn a little bit more money on your check? Yes, but you also earn a ton of more responsibilities, okay? Which means now you were already working hard to show yourself worthy when you first came in at the employee level. Now you have to work 5 times as hard to maintain your position in that executive position. And to me, An executive position, it really is just a fancy title. That's it. It's a fancy title that gives you an opportunity to make a little bit more money, live a little bit more comfortably, but you have more responsibilities also. Now, the CEO is the person who owns the company. As you can see by the pyramid, the CEO is at the very top because the CEO is the one who built the company. So guess what? They get to make the rules. The CEO of whatever company you work for is the one that's going to tell you when you can go to lunch and when you can go to break and what time you need to show up to work and what time you need to go home. And if you are going to be approved for a vacation to spend with your family or not. The CEO is the one who rolls all that out, depending upon what your job offers at the time you guys start working. But here's the most important part of this slide I want you to remember. You notice that the CEO position is at the very top of this pyramid. No matter how much of a hard worker you are, no matter how many days and months and years you show up to work on time, no matter how many times you apply for a higher position in your company because you want to earn more money, let me explain this to you, and please listen very carefully. The CEO of any company is never going to come all the way down to the bottom where the employees are, pick somebody like you who's a hard worker and teach you how to take over the company so that you can move up to the top. That is never going to happen. Never. If you want to get to the top of your company that you're working for or that you're working with, you need to build the company yourself. And that's what this presentation is teaching you, how to build your own company so that you can be the boss. And so that if you do have a job by that time, and if you listen to the things that I'm telling you in this presentation, I'm going to teach you how to fire your boss before your boss fires you. Because that's how wealthy people think. Anybody who understands what I just said right now is probably on the same wavelength as me, meaning they understand the power of timing and positioning in order to take advantage of residual income opportunities. And this is why I think that corporate America is the world's most illegal pyramid. And the only reason I use the word illegal is because many of the people at the bottom in the blue category will never reach the top. And there's so many people out there who work hard on their jobs every day. They work their fingers to the bone so that you guys can have a roof over your head, so that you could have a good Christmas, so that you could have food in the refrigerator and clothes in your closet and things like that. But a lot of these corporate companies, they're not designed for you to win. I went to college and got a bachelor's degree in business management, guys. Guess what? I don't even use it. I have no desire to use my talent and experience and my knowledge to build someone else's empire only to be given what the company thinks I'm worth. And that's why it is so important. It was so important to me that I wrote this book, Modern Day Mentor, because believe it or not, guys, for everybody that's on this training call right now, I wrote this book with you in mind, because if I would have had the knowledge that this book has when I was your age, I would have been more successful in life much sooner. When I was 20 years old, guys, my first check was about after we signed our record deal, our check was about $25,000. So between 4 people in the group, we split $25,000 just for signing our name on the dotted line of a contract. We didn't perform. We didn't go sell anything. Our record wasn't even finished yet. We hadn't even started recording it. Just for signing our name on a piece of paper, we got $25,000. But because I was so young and because I was so inexperienced with finances and I didn't really know how to budget, how to save, how to spend, nobody ever taught me that. Within probably 2 years, maybe less, I'm being generous by saying 2 years, we all completely blew $25,000. Like, we blew it. We went shopping every weekend at the Beverly Center. We were taking all of our friends out to lunch, dinner at expensive restaurants in Beverly Hills. We were taking limo rides everywhere. But you know what the funny part is? Well, it's funny now because I'm not there. But the funny part is that when the limos brought us back home, they brought us back home to our apartment where we had no furniture. That's how much about money I didn't know. So that's why I wrote this book, so that I could arm you guys with information that's going to allow you to succeed in a faster period of time. So we're going to move toward some more of these slides right now so that we can get you guys to your questions. And I hope you guys are writing down some good questions. So in this next slide, we want to talk about being disciplined in how you spend or how you save your money. And if you notice, we have one column of wants, we have one column of needs. And I'm not going to go into these in very much detail because you guys will have access to this video stream when the class is over, and you can read these for yourself. This would be actually a really good slide for your parents to go over with you, because a lot of times when you guys want things like an iPhone, or you want a PlayStation 5, or you want, you know, a Coach purse, or you want the fancy things that your friends have, those are all wants. And it's okay to want those things. But as far as your parents are concerned, your parents' primary objective is to always be able to take care of your needs. You never want to make your wants your priority and then not have enough resources to sustain your needs. You need food, you need clothes, you need a place to live, which is your shelter. You need to learn how to save money for college. And if you follow some of these steps that I'm teaching you guys, when you get old enough to want to start driving for the first time, and when you get old enough and responsible enough to have a car of your own, you're not going to need to borrow money from your parents to put a down payment on your car. If you follow the steps that I'm teaching you in these slides, especially what we're going to learn in part 2, then you'll have enough money to get the kind of car you want, okay? Now I want to show you something about this coupon. You see these coupons all the time. And this is a marketing tactic to make you buy something that you probably don't even need. Coupons can be very helpful for people who need the items that are on there. If you need to save money to buy groceries so you don't have to pay full price, this would be a great coupon, 20% off. But if you notice this coupon, if you look down here in the middle in the red section on the left, you'll see it says coupon expires February 1st of 2021. So I think I got this coupon in the mail sometime in like November or December of last year. So when you look at the coupon, guys, I want to teach you this trick. That expiration date, February 1st, 2021, that's basically a date that is kind of like forcing you to go to this store and purchase something just so that you could save 20% off whatever item you purchase. If you really, 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 really need the item, this would be a good coupon to have. But if you really don't need the item, you can save 100% of your money and keep 100% of your money in your pocket by putting this coupon where it really belongs, in the shredder or the trash can. Rip it up. It's a gimmick. It's a trick to make you go spend money. And even if you don't spend any money, it's a trick to get you in the store, because the people who create these coupons, from a psychological perspective, know that if they get this coupon in your hands and you look at it long enough, eventually you're going to show up to their store and spend some money. Okay, so that's what coupons are for. If you need it, use it. If you don't need it, don't fall for the trick and go down to the store and spend all your money. It's just a gimmick, okay? Turning your talents into dollars. This is a slide I want to talk to you guys about. So you might be thinking by now, well, what do I do? How do I know what business to open, or how do I know what home-based business to start? Well, what do you like to do? What are your talents? What are your hobbies? I just put a few of them here, like hiking. Maybe you like hiking like me. I love hiking. You like working with computers, or you like cooking or baking. Well, if you like hiking, maybe your business idea could be you could open up your own business as a guided tours consultant, which means when people come to visit your part of town, you take them to all the famous places where people like to hang out. You could be, they have a guided tour guide. I know they used to in Hollywood. I'm not sure if they still do, but those are just some ideas. If you like working with computers, maybe your home-based business could be software technician or electronic. Maybe you could repair broken cell phone screens. That would be an awesome job to do and earn money at it if you enjoy working with technology or electronics, okay? So these are just some ideas. Now, if you like cooking or baking, maybe your home-based business could be baking cakes for people's birthday. If you have a lot of friends and, you know, their birthday comes around, you can ask them, hey, how much money would you pay me if I made you a birthday cake? And then when you do that, everything that you make, take pictures of it so people can see how good your work is. And then you can show that to other people around you, right? And then when the word gets out that you make good cakes, people will start paying you money for that. And that's money that you can put away in your savings. So to get you guys ready for the part 2 segment that we'll be having after this, I left these last 3 bullet points at the bottom open for you to write what you think your talent is, and then you can match that to what you think your business idea would be, okay? So I'm gonna ask you guys to tell me what those are when we get to part 2 of the financial literacy training. So I'm gonna give you guys a homework assignment, okay? And so your homework assignment is, using the examples in the previous slides, I want you to write out a home-based business plan using the talent or hobby that you are most passionate about, okay? You can only create one fictitious name and business plan. And if you don't understand what fictitious business name is, don't worry about it, because that's part of the part 2 series that we're going to do. And I'm going to go over that with you guys in very great detail. Okay. And then the second thing I want you to do is, on a piece of paper, a piece of notebook paper, I want you to write out the definitions for each vocabulary word shown below. And I want you to be prepared to discuss your definitions with me during the part 2 STEM class. So we have DBA. I want you to be able to tell me what DBA means. I want you guys to look this up on the internet. I don't care if you ask your parents or somebody that you live with, if they know the answer. We'll discuss it on the next class. I want you to be able to tell me the definition of an asset, a liability, and I also want you to tell me what APR means, and I want you to tell me what ROI means. These should be really fun definitions for you guys to look up, because when you think about the definitions that are out there today, especially on social media, you have LOL, right? You have IKR, you have OMG, you have all these definitions that when you hear it, you know exactly what it means. What I want you to do in this exercise, I want you to think outside the box and study these definitions once you find out what they are, because these are some of the basic definitions that are going to change and shape the way you look at money, okay? So I'm going to expect you guys to have this done by the time we have the next class. So we got about 10 more minutes left, so we're finishing right on time here. So this concludes part 1 of today's training on basic principles of financial literacy. I want to thank each and every student for trusting me enough to register for this online training. I'd also like to thank every single parent for allowing your child to be a part of this life-changing training that will help them to have a bright financial future. This slide is my written promise to all students that I will always make room in my schedule for you to continue mentoring you and teaching you various ways that you can become successful in life much sooner rather than much later. I hope that I've said something to you today that will stick with you forever as you continue to diligently and courageously work hard to find your place in this world and be a respected, productive citizen in your community. Highest regards, Dameon Wroe. So the last slide is just some purchase options for any parents or educators that may be online and may wish to purchase this book. These are some places where you can find it online, Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And you could also find it at Malik Books. If you're on Instagram, just go to Instagram and type in @Malik Books. My books can be purchased there also, or you can purchase by clicking one of the links in the publisher section. You can purchase using PayPal or Cash App, whatever's most convenient for you. I will tell you though, if you do use the Cash App feature, try to let us know what your shipping address is going to be so that we will know where to ship your book, your signed autographed copy of the book. If you're unable to do that, you can always email us at anotherepublishingcompany@gmail.com. Let us know that you purchased a book. Give us your transaction code that will appear in the Cash App window, and then we will research that, and then we will be able to ship your book out 2 business days after you purchase it. You can also find it in the actual bookstore at Barnes & Noble in Glendora. And also just recently, we added Barnes & Noble in Los Angeles at Barnes & Noble at the Grove. So that's pretty much our presentation, guys. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I want to thank you guys for being patient and allowing me to get through this. And now I want to take questions for anybody who wants to shout a question out. You guys can unmute yourself if you have a question that you would like to ask. Just let me know your first name and then go ahead and proceed with your question. Somebody has to have a question. I can see it in your face, Sophia. You have a question. You're dying to ask it. I don't know why you haven't asked it already, but you want to so bad. Go for it. Do you have a question?
So for the words that you like gave us to like research, so all of them have like they relate to the topic, right?
Yeah. So those are financial terms. When you see stuff like DBA, all of those are financial terms. Listen to me. I'm really glad that you asked that question, because these are questions that you're not going to be able to ask your teacher at school. Your teachers at school are not going to teach you anything of what I'm telling you about today. They're not. Because if it was meant to be taught at a school at a grade level like you guys, I would have been taught this years and years and years ago. So yes, to answer your question, yes. All you have to do is do a Google search and just type in DBA. You can just type in DBA meaning. And the first couple of things that pop up are going to tell you what the words or the letters DBA mean, right? I'll give you a spoiler. Since you took a chance to ask the first question, I will tell you that DBA means doing business as. So what is your hobby? What is your hobby that you like to do? Do you like to cook? Do you like to bake? Do you like to sew? Do you like to sing?
I like to cook and bake.
So let's say you were the one who started a home-based business. What would the name of your company be? You're gonna be an awesome caterer. You're gonna be the world's most famous pastry chef. What's the name of your business gonna be? Sophia's Bakery, maybe?
Okay, yeah.
So let's say we just use Sophia's Bakery. So in reality, you are Sophia doing business as Sophia's Bakery. Get it? DBA means doing business as. You get it?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be on all your paperwork. We're going to talk about that in the second segment of this training class. So I hope that you register for part 2, because that's all we're gonna talk about. When we get to part 2, guys, it's gonna be a lot more fun than part 1, because I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna talk to each one of you individually. I'm gonna find out what your passions are, what your talents are, and I'm gonna give you some ideas that you can work with your parents together on to create a home-based business for you, so that you can start earning money before you even get out of high school. And trust me, it works. I've been doing it for 21 years. I want to see everybody, all of you who are on here, I want to see you guys win big time. When you get on TV and the cameras are following you around, Sophia, and they ask you, where did you learn all this information? I want you to be able to tell the whole world, modern day mentor taught me. How old are you?
11.
So you'll be able to say, oh, please, I knew this when I was 11 years old. I've had my own business since I was 13. Imagine that. It's possible. My children are about your age. And when they turn 18, I started a smoothie business for them. Okay? They can't run it right now, but I'm showing them how to do it. And when they turn 18, their birthday present is going to be me turning over this company to them. So they don't have to go look for a job. They're going to own a company. Imagine if you got a company for your birthday. Are you kidding me, Sophia? That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's possible. Isabel, you're itching to ask me a question. I could see it. I could see it just, you have a glow on you right now. You want to ask a question so bad. What's your question, Isabel? Thank you, Sophia, for your question. You could go ahead and mute yourself again, please.
I think I have 2. So the first one, what do you recommend we do to start off with building a business?
Okay, good question. Whatever money you get in your hands, starting from today, I don't care if it's birthday money, if it's quinceañera money, if it's money just because, if it's Christmas money in a Christmas card, whatever money makes its way into your hands, save it. Put it in an envelope and save it and never touch it. Just save it. That envelope is your commitment envelope. So you have to make a commitment that when you put money in that envelope, you're never going to take it out until you're ready to invest in your business or until you're ready to open a savings account. For any parents listening right now, I highly recommend that if you have not already done it, open a savings account for your children ASAP. Because after studying this video that we're doing, I'm telling you, I'm going to turn your kids into entrepreneurs, and they're going to need to put their money in the bank instead of in the shoebox in their closet. Okay. So get them a savings account set up if you haven't done that. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to invest in opening up a savings account for them at a credit union. And I'm telling you that for a very peculiar reason that I'm actually going to hint about in part 2. My children are about the age of you guys. My children belong to 3 credit unions, and they have a savings account at a bank, and they've had it since they were about 6 or 7. It's very important. So that was a great question. Thank you for your question, Isabel. Francisco, do you have a question?
Okay, so basically what I was gonna ask is how did you learn about credit and stuff like that to get started with your business and stuff?
So I'm gonna give you a very quick answer to that. How I learned about credit is that I ruined my credit first. That's how I learned about credit. When I started college, my first year in college, this was even before I went into the music business. Right outside the bookstore at this junior college that I went to, this local junior college, there was a table set up, and there was a lady outside giving away free headsets, like Walkman headsets. You guys probably don't even know what that is. It's so long ago. You'll have to Google what a Walkman is. It's actually kind of funny. And so I really didn't care if I got approved or not. I just wanted a free Walkman so I could listen to my music. So, but in order for me to get it, remember I showed you that coupon, right? It was a trick. They said, if you apply for this credit card, we'll give you a free Walkman, even if you don't get approved. Like, why would you give me a prize, even if I don't get approved? So that's how I learned about credit. I got approved. My credit limit was $300 on this little plastic card. And because I was not financially literate and I was not financially responsible, I blew the $300 on the card. In fact, I went over the $300, which we'll talk about in part 2 also, based on your question, because it's very important. And I wrecked my credit for years. When I finally got older and started to understand the value of why a good credit score is so important, that's what made me turn my mindset around and fix my credit and commit to myself to never let my credit go bad again. So be careful with credit. If you can't pay for it with cash, that's God telling you that you don't need it. Remember that slide where I showed you guys wants and needs? The very last thing you need right now is a credit card. So get it out of your mind until you're older. Pay everything with cash. If you don't have the cash, it's okay. Keep saving until you get it. And then you can move forward from there. I'm going to take one more question for anybody who might have a question. Nia, what are you doing, Nia? Is your hand up? Do you have a question? Take your speaker off. You don't have a question? Okay, sweetheart. Okay, I saw your hand up. I didn't want to make you feel like I was ignoring you. I see your hand up, Sophia. What's your last question?
Yeah, do you recommend we get into investing our money into the stock markets?
Okay, you're 11? You're 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 answers. The first answer is absolutely no. Okay. And the only reason I say that is because you're 11. I want you to get to a place in life where you really understand the concept of how to make money work for you. Remember that example that I showed you? These are my 3 employees right here. 1, 2, 3. I have another employee, but I couldn't fit him in the screen, so I just left him in the box. Don't do it until it becomes necessary for you to even be thinking about that. The only thing I want you guys to think about right now is save. Let me give you an example. Let's say it's your birthday tomorrow and you get a birthday card that has $100 in it. I want you to keep $50 of that $100. I want you to keep half and save half. Okay? Most people, when they get money in their hand, like you guys hear this all over the news. What's getting ready to happen in the next couple of weeks? People are getting stimulus money. Yay! $1,400. I'm going to go buy new rims. I'm going to go buy a new purse. I'm going to go buy some new Jordans. I'm going to take my homies out to eat. Don't do it. Save, 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 save. That's all I want you to think about is saving. My children are around about your age. My children have been counting money. I'm talking about wads of money since they were 6. And I'm really not talking to you right now, Sophia. I'm talking to any of the parents who are still listening. If you have small children who can count, get in the habit of allowing your kids to feel and touch money on a regular basis, because if you don't do it when they're young, when they get old, they're going to steal for it and they're going to end up in jail. They could end up in jail. We're not going to speak that into existence, but I let my kids handle money all the time, thousands of dollars. And another thing that I do, if they count it right and they get the amount of money correct, I pay them. Because I'm teaching them how to be respectful of money. I'm teaching them how to count money so that no one takes advantage of them. And another thing I'm teaching them, parents, is that if you let your kids on a regular basis touch and feel and count money on a regular basis when they're small, nobody can pressure them when they get older to do anything for it. Don't let your kids get out there and not teach them about money. And then when they turn 18, they'll do anything for money and bring shame upon the family or themselves or anything like that. Teach them about money so that when they get older, they won't just be doing anything to get it. That's my advice. So I'm going to turn this back over to Adrian. If she's still with us, if she's still listening. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to teach you this. You're never going to learn any of these things in class. Your teachers are going to teach you how to be good students and get good grades so that one day you can get a good job. The only good job I believe in is a job where you're showing up to work for yourself and you're the boss. That's a good job because you are the CEO of your own company. And as you guys get older, I want to hear a story a few years from now that you guys are doing big things and that you are creating opportunities. And that's another thing I want to leave you with. When you get out there in the world to look for opportunities, if the opportunity that you are looking for is not out there, you create it. You understand?